Maybe you bought a Cricut Joy and you haven't used it very much yet, or maybe you're thinking about buying one and you're not sure if it's right for you. Let's get into it. Hi everyone, it's Chrissy from First Day of Home. This is the easiest unboxing ever because the Cricut Joy has only one blade housing here instead of two like most Cricuts. And there are no buttons, which makes this machine super user-friendly. It comes with some sample materials, a cutting mat, fine point pen, and a quick start guide to get you started in the software. In a recent video, I made pressed flower bookmarks with these cute acrylic blanks. So I had a bunch left over and I thought it would be fun to try to make a bookmark with the Cricut Joy. When you sign up for Cricut Design Space, which is the software you'll be using, there are a lot of beginner projects you can choose from. But I'm going to start with these brush strokes that I created, and then I'm going to personalize it by adding some text here with my name. Now there are tons of fonts you can choose from in Cricut Design Space, so I scrolled through to find one that I liked. I actually ended up going with a font that I had installed on my computer, so it's nice that you can use fonts that you already own as well. Throughout this video, I'll be showing you some tips, so here's my first one. I'm going to change the font color just to demonstrate. Here you'll see that there are some lines between the letters that would be cut if we sent it to our Cricut machine now. So I'm going to select the word and then go hit weld to make sure that the letters are now all connected. And you can see those lines are gone now. My design is already sized for my bookmark, so I'm going to hit make and choose on mat and then continue. Now let's get our materials ready to cut in our machine. I'm going to take my piece of smart vinyl and cut it down to size because I had used it earlier as a test cut. The nice thing about this is you can always reorient your materials here. I'm going to cut sideways, so in the software, I'm going to switch my name to go vertically instead of horizontally. Then in the software, I'll choose Smart Vinyl Permanent as my material. And when it prompts me, I'll load my cutting mat into the machine, and it's going to make sure that it's loaded properly. And once it's done, you'll go back into the software and hit go to start cutting. Once it's done with the first cut, you can unload your mat and remove the material from the mat. Then the software will prompt you to load the next material, and you'll just repeat the process. I'm going to be using this patterned vinyl that I bought online. It's so pretty and comes in a variety of patterns, so I'll link it below. So once again, I'll be cutting my design vertically, so I reoriented my brush stroke here, loaded my mat again, and then just hit go to start cutting. After the vinyl's cut, you'll want to remove any excess vinyl or what's called weeding. I like using this little weeding tool here. It comes in a set that I'll link to down below. It just makes it really easy. If you don't have a hook like this one or some of the other tools, you can always use your fingernails or whatever you have on hand to help peel away the vinyl. You can see what that starts to look like as we weed the vinyl. Then I'll remove the protective layer on the bookmark and apply my brushstroke vinyl first. To pick up the name vinyl, I'm going to use what's called transfer tape. This allows me to pick up all of the letters at once and keep the alignment and transfer it to my material. Once I'm done transferring, I'll remove that paper backing from the transfer tape, and then I'll apply my name on top of my little brush stroke. And after we peel back that transfer tape, your design should be nicely applied to the bookmark. I think this is such a fun way to personalize gifts. If you have someone who loves reading, this is a great gift for them. Just add a colorful tassel and your bookmark is done. For this next project, I'm going to be reusing this old spice jar to create a new container with a new label. This is a great way to get comfortable with printing and cutting labels using the Cricut pen. I've already picked out a couple of designs here in Cricut Design Space. I'm just adding them to my canvas, and then I can customize them by changing fonts. I ended up adding a little leaf here to look like a basil leaf. Then I'm going to do some basic formatting to make sure everything is where I want it to be. You'll see here that I'm doing a few different processing types. I'm drawing with a pen or telling it to draw with a pen. Then I'm cutting the outside of the labels. So once I'm done with all this formatting, I'm going to move on to my next tip. First, you're going to select everything that should be processed together. So here I'll do the main label and then click attach. This is telling the software to keep all of those pieces, the drawing and the cutting together and not to process them on different parts of the mat. I'll be using a scrap piece of sticker paper that I have here, but Cricut also sells writable vinyl or writable paper if you're interested in that too. I'm going to select my material as sticker cardstock, and then I'll go ahead and place my pen into the Cricut machine in the same place where we had our blade. One fun fact is that there's a little magnetic spot on the Cricut Joy where you can hold your blade while you're changing tools like this. I'm going to go ahead and load my mat to start the writing process. And once that's done, the software will tell me to load the blade back in, so I'll switch out my pen and then finish cutting my labels. One of the benefits of using smart materials is that you don't need a cutting mat like I used here. So if you have a bunch of labels you want to make, you can go that route. Hopefully, though, you get a sense of the possibilities here. I'm really happy with how these turned out, and I plan to make a bunch more of these. One of my favorite things to do with a Cricut is paper crafting. So I thought it would be fun to make some gift card holders because I feel like I always need a card or something to kind of dress up a gift card throughout the year. Fortunately, Cricut Design Space has tons of options here. So this is one that's all ready to go. It's super simple. So I'm just going to go ahead and edit a copy of this on my canvas. And really, there's nothing I have to do other than process my paper. So this is already ready to go. Super quick project. I'm just going to select that I'm cutting it on a mat, and then I'll load my scrapbook paper. And in just a few minutes, I was able to cut this out and then use a little bit of glue to attach the top and bottom. Look how cute! So I can make these in any colors, I can change up the designs. This is just the one I picked today, but I think that's a game changer if you love paper crafting. Speaking of paper crafts, let's talk about making cards. I'm going to use this template for making an insert card with Cricut. You can choose from various sizes here, so just make sure you know which one you need. And this is another really quick project, but instead of using my regular cutting mat, I'm going to choose a card mat for this. The card mat is sold separately, but I highly recommend it, and I wanted to show you what it looks like. So I'm going to select Insert Card as my material here, and then I bought this bundle that includes these insert cards that I think are really beautiful. They have this iridescent insert piece, and then it comes with a variety of colors of cards and pastels. With the Cricut Joy card mat, you can insert your card and have it just cut out the top portion of the card without cutting underneath. That's what makes it really special. So I'm going to insert my card here, and the sticky mat on top will keep it in place. You load the mat just like you would normally, and this card is cut in no time. After it's done cutting, you'll just remove the card from the mat and insert your little insert card, and you're done. This is such a quick and easy way to whip up a birthday card. And you can see here, you can make all kinds of cards, including these beautiful birthday cards and these Valentine's Day cards that use foil, which we're going to get into next. One accessory I decided to buy was the foil transfer tip. Now this is specifically for the Cricut Joy. I have used the foil transfer kit with the Cricut Explorer 3 and Maker 3, but they are not compatible with the Joy, so just know that in advance. In Cricut Design Space, there are tons of gift tag options you can choose from. I'm going to select Cut and Draw as my operation type since I want to do foil and cut. And I'll select this gift tag to add to my canvas. Now, if I click on the down arrow here, I can see that there is an alert here that says not supported by Joy. That's because we have to go in and change it from pen to foil, and that should take care of that. So I'm going to add a little text here with my name just to sign who it's from, make it a little easier. So I'll just pick out a font here that I think looks decent. Then I'm going to change the operation type to glitter gel pen in my menu here. And then I'll select silver as my color, even though it doesn't matter which color you select, it's just for your reference. Now that the formatting is done, I'm going to reorder my layers, select my entire design, and click Attach just like we did in the last project. Now we're ready to go ahead and send it to our Cricut machine. The Cricut Joy will start with the drawing operation first before it does the foiling and then cutting. So I'm loading my cardstock onto my mat, and then I'll load my pen into the machine instead of the blade. Once that's done, it's time to load the foil transfer tip. So with the kit, you'll get a housing and this foil transfer tip that you'll just load inside the housing. Then we're going to take some of the foil transfer sheets that come with this kit and apply it using tape. Everything that you need is included in the foil transfer kit. If you're looking for more craftsy ideas, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Once that's done, you'll remove the sheet very carefully without unloading the mat, and then you'll replace the foil transfer tip with the regular cutting blade. I love that hint of foil on this gift tag, but I wanted to add one more thing to this. I'm sure you've seen paper flowers made with Cricut all over the place. I even have a tutorial over on my blog, so I thought it would be fun to add a little paper flower to our gift tag. I'm just going to load some cardstock into my machine after sizing the flower, and in no time it will cut this spiral flower pattern. I'm using a little quilling tool, but you can also use your fingers or a paper clip to roll the flower together and then dab a bit of hot glue on there to keep it in place. I'll use a little more hot glue to attach it to my gift tag, and I think it looks so beautiful. It adds just a little extra touch to these gift tags, and these would be perfect for a bridal shower or wedding invitation. The sky's the limit. You're probably wondering how to do heat transfer vinyl, because to me, this is one of the essential Cricut crafts. I'm going to be applying my iron-on vinyl to a small cotton tote bag, so I wanted to find a fun crown to put on the front as a gift for a friend. Sometimes when you add an image to your canvas, you'll see that it's not supported by the Joy because it's too big, so make sure you size it down. Then when we click Make, this time I'm going to select without a mat because I'm going to use smart iron-on vinyl, and I'll show you what that looks like. Anytime you're using iron-on vinyl, you want to mirror the image. If you forget to do that, then once you continue and select your iron-on material, it's going to remind you again that you need to mirror it. I have my tote bag ready, and I'm going to use smart vinyl, as I said, so that means I won't need a mat this time. With smart vinyl, you can load the roll directly into the machine. You just want to make sure the shiny side is face down and then the more matte side is facing up. And again, we're mirroring the image, so it's going to cut in reverse. The nice thing about smart vinyl is you can use the whole length of the roll if you want, and you're not limited by the dimensions of the cutting mat. I'm going to go ahead and trim this roll so I can weed the design. Again, that's removing the excess vinyl that we don't need. Online, you'll find the Cricut Heat app that has all of the instructions for applying heat transfer vinyl to various materials using a heat press. I'm using the Easy Press Mini here, and I'm going to go ahead and preheat my fabric. I'm just following the instructions in the Cricut Heat Guide. Then I will press my iron-on design onto my fabric for the amount of time that is in the instructions. Once this was completely cooled, I was able to peel back the carrier sheet here to reveal my design. This is such a gorgeous design and will be perfect for a little treat for a friend's upcoming birthday. For this project, I'm going to do something very simple. I'm taking a phone stand that my husband made for me. It's just plain wood, and I'm going to make a stencil to do a design on the front, just to dress it up a little bit. If you have a Cricut Access subscription, then you get these monogram designs for free. So you can go over here to Monogram and choose from a variety of different styles. You can also just use a letter in a fancy font that you like, but I find that the monograms are very nice when you want to personalize something. I landed on this vintage style C and added it to my canvas. Then I went ahead and sized it to fit my little phone stand, and I'm going to select a square shape to go around it. This is going to be my stencil that I'm creating. I'm going to shift this layer behind the C, and then anytime you're trying to resize a shape like this, it's going to resize proportionately unless you unclick this little lock here. Now I can resize it in any direction. Once I have everything formatted, again, I'm going to click Attach so that it cuts both of these pieces together. I'm just using a piece of plain black removable vinyl to cut this stencil because the vinyl color doesn't matter. I just need to make my stencil. Then I'll weed the vinyl, but this time I'm actually removing the letter part instead of the outer black part surrounding the letter. Just like we did in the first bookmark tutorial, I'm using transfer tape to pick up my design here. This is going to allow me to get a very clean placement onto my phone stand. I'll be using a pretty aqua color to paint it, but first I find that if you add a layer of Mod Podge, it will prevent a lot of smearing or bleeding in the stencil. After the Mod Podge has dried completely, maybe 20 or 30 minutes later, I'll go back through with my first coat of paint, and I'm just going to use these pouncers to dab the paint onto my letter C here. I ended up doing 2 coats of paint and waited about an hour in between coats. Then it was time to take away my stencil and reveal the design. I did have to use my weeding tool again, just to remove those inner details of the C. I am just so pleased with how this turned out. I feel like it's a gorgeous way to personalize something, and it looks so professional because it's actually painted on instead of sitting on top like vinyl. Now, you might have heard about Cricut infusible ink. This is like an iron-on, but it's not vinyl. Instead, it's a form of sublimation where the ink in the sheets actually transfers to your base material here. We're going to be making a wine bag, and I have this image that I uploaded from a place called Creative Fabrica. I will leave a link below because this is one of my favorite places to find tons of designs for Cricut, including a lot of free ones. So I've uploaded my design here. You can choose different tags or categories to add it to just for your own reference. Then I'll add it to my canvas. The design is pretty much ready to go. You may want to double check your measurements. When I went to process this, you'll see I forgot one step. It looks like a jumbled mess. So what we didn't do this time was select attach. And you'll see once you do that, that is what tells the software to keep all of those pieces in the same place relative to each other. I'm going to search for my material here using infusible ink sheets. And just as we did for iron-on, you'll want to mirror your design so that the text is facing the right way. I'm using a scrap piece of an infusible ink transfer sheet and loading it into the machine with the pretty side up. Once it's cut, you'll want to weed the pieces very carefully without using any sharp tools this time. Just kind of gently peel the paper away. For this project, I'll need a slightly larger heat press, so I'm using my Easy Press 3, and it comes with a heat app that tells you everything you need to know, and not only that, it sends the instructions to the machine via Wi-Fi. So I'm just going to follow the directions in the heat app. It tells me every step along the way and how to layer my materials before I press it. If you're interested in learning more about infusible ink, I'll put a link to a blog post that has way more details and some great beginner projects for you. Once your design has cooled, you can remove that plastic carrier sheet, and I am always blown away every time I do an infusible ink project because I think the results are so professional looking. There are limitless possibilities with this technique. Now, I wanted to introduce you to the Cricut Mug Press. You don't have to run out and buy this if you own a Cricut Joy, but I wanted to let you know that it is compatible with the Joy machine. And the Mug Press infusible ink boxes are perfectly sized for the Cricut Joy. In Cricut Design Space, there are several templates you can use, and you just select your finish size and the type of mug you're using. So I'm not going to go through all of the details about how to get this set up, but I just wanted to let you know that it's here and demonstrate what the Mug Press looks like. So you can see we have a nice template here that's going to guide us as we make our design, and we can hide the pieces that we don't need. So I'll show you that a little bit later. But I'm going to go ahead and add this cute birthday design. It has a rectangle around the shapes, but I just want the shapes. So what I'm going to do is use the contour tool down here to remove that pink rectangle and just leave the gifts that are in the design. After centering everything, I'm going to go ahead and hide the guide that I don't need, so the pink mugs at the top here. Then I'll make sure everything is attached and in the right order before hitting make. This is a longer project, so when I select on mat, I'm choosing the longer mat size, and I'll show you what that looks like. We're using the infusible ink transfer sheet again, so of course we want our mirror on. I have smaller infusible ink transfer sheets that would be perfect for the Cricut Joy cutting mat, but I'm going to use some scraps from a prior project. This longer Cricut Joy cutting mat is the perfect size for making Cricut mugs like this. After weeding my design on the infusible ink transfer sheet, the process for pressing the mug was really simple. I just cleaned the mug first with a lint roller, then I applied my design all around and secured it with some heat-resistant tape. The mug press is super simple to use. You just plug it in and turn it on, and once it's fully heated, you put your mug inside and push down the handle. Once it's done and it'll beep, you remove the mug and have it sit on an easy press mat while it cools completely. Then you can remove that infusible ink transfer sheet and look at your beautiful mug. I think this looks incredible, and if you're interested in more Cricut projects, I'm going to leave some videos for you to check out next. Be sure to let me know down in the comments which of these projects was your favorite. There are so many amazing projects you can make, so I hope this inspires you to get out and start crafting. See you next time!